It has been quite a while since we last caught up with my cousin, Tekashi 6ix9ine. In fact, it has now been a full 5 years since he was officially released from his sentencing, a moment that took everyone by surprise.
Y'all could never cooperate with the government and come back. Y'all could never do that. I'm a living legend at the age of 24 years old.
At that time, he was still arguably the most viral rapper online, riding a wave of success with a string of hits that mirrored the impact of his idol, 50 Cent, in the early 2000s. Just like 50 Cent back then, Tekashi positioned himself as the ultimate troll in the entertainment industry. The guy who said and did whatever he wanted, whenever he wanted, and laughed in your face if you had anything to say about it. He thrived on controversy, making headlines with his bold antics and fearless attitude.
Tekashi, what's going on with you and Alex? Are you guys really dating or are you just trolling tripping?
He constantly used social media as his primary tool to grab attention, always stirring up controversy and keeping his name in the spotlight. Whether through bold statements, trolling rivals, or outrageous stunts, he knew exactly how to keep people talking.
It is fuck 6ix9ine, it's fucking Treyway.
He was known for talking the biggest smack in the rap game, constantly stirring up drama and controversy. During that time, the industry was welcoming a wave of new stars, but Tekashi still managed to keep himself in the conversation. After his release from prison, he shocked everyone by refusing the FBI's witness protection offer, a move that stunned many, as most believed he would never walk free again. In fact, Charlemagne even made a bold claim about what he would do if Tekashi ever got out.
You don't think telling people to suck your dick online got anything to do with it too?
Nah, I tell niggas suck my every day.
You know, my father used to always say, if you tell somebody to suck your dick, man, you got to be ready to either kill or die.
Alright, and I'm ready to die, and I'm ready to...
If Tekashi 6ix9ine beats this case, I'll suck his dick. He don't even have to ask me.
Shit.
However, that couldn't have been further from reality. His biggest challenge was that much of his music before landing behind bars revolved around illegal activities, rapping about guns, drugs, and portraying himself as a tough gang leader who wouldn't back down in any situation. So, when he took the stand and cooperated with authorities, exposing the entire operation, it was inevitable that his credibility and the way he presented himself in his music would take a major hit. At this point, his braggadocious antics, both in his music and online, started to feel more manufactured than anything else. The tough guy persona he once relied on had completely fallen apart, leaving him scrambling to find a new angle. His next troll move? A childish, nah, boo-boo, you can't get me approach, taunting his critics while trying to keep the attention on himself.
If you don't got this watch right here, you a little boy to me. I'll kiss you on your forehead. You a little boy. Sit down. King's home. It's over.
Truthfully, Tekashi was never really about that gangster lifestyle. It was almost like a meme that went way too far. Sure, his ego was always massive, but he got caught up in the kind of music he was making and eventually started living the life he rapped about.
We beat the industry. Fuck is y'all talking about? Nigga. To then a rat like me to come home and still do more numbers than you, I would be mad too.
He became affiliated with real crime organizations and even committed crimes himself, slowly morphing into the persona he had originally just been portraying. But it's also important to remember that the same guys he ended up snitching on were the ones who had previously kidnapped him, adding another layer of complexity to the situation.
Get in the car. That's what I'm doing.
They had stolen from him, slept with his girlfriend, and there were even rumors that they had plans to kill Tekashi.
So-called is loyalty and everything and no snitching and all of that. I get it, right? But where was the loyalty when you was sleeping with my baby mother? Where was the loyalty when you was caught on the wiretap trying to kill me? Where was the loyalty when you tried to kidnap my mother? Where was the loyalty when you were stealing millions of dollars from me?
Given all of that, his decision to testify against them wasn't as black and white as some made it out to be. It wasn't like he was ratting on his lifelong best friends or family, but that didn't change public perception. Most people saw him as a snitch, someone who talked a big game but folded the moment he was on the stand. Despite the early success of singles like Gooba and Trolls featuring Nicki Minaj, it quickly became clear that things weren't the same from a business standpoint. His album Tattletales received little to no support from his record label, and even worse, it seemed like there was an active effort to prevent him from climbing the charts with its release.
To be honest, since I got out of jail, I feel like I've just been blackballed from a lot of things.
I truly believe they saw this coming. They knew everyone was curious about what Tekashi had to say fresh out of prison, but at the same time, they weren't eager to promote someone found guilty of multiple felonies. So instead of backing him, they gave Tattletales virtually no promotion, essentially blackballing him.
Because it was projected to not be #1 at first, and I wasn't bothered by that.
So it's not just you, the world, like people watching see it like, oh my God, they're blackballing him, right? But the way the industry makes it look is like, Tekashi puts out the album, huge flop.
Meanwhile, they put their full support behind a Big Sean album that happened to drop the very same week, making it clear where their priorities were. When Tekashi realized that Tattletales was going to be a commercial failure, he reverted back to his usual trolling antics, trying to stir up attention in any way he could. However, after that, he largely disappeared from the spotlight. For a while, the only time he would resurface was in the occasional viral clip or internet drama.
Tekashi.
Yeah.
Come on.
Sure.
What position?
Probably doggy, so I don't have to look at him.
We'll take a look at him.
But musically, he had gone quiet. During this time, Tekashi was often seen running around with his then best friend, Steve Will Doet, who seemed to be one of the only people genuinely interested in helping him revive his career. Well, him and DJ Academics, who had always been a vocal supporter.
I remember going to his house the first time and I came with a shoebox, $250,000 cash, and I gave it to him.
So he flew me out like an Instagram thought. He flew me out. He got me a private jet, got me my own room, and he fed me pretty good.
Today, I consider Danny my best friend.
But despite their efforts, Tekashi's musical comeback never really gained traction. He spent most of his time outside the country, even performing at a few shows abroad. For a while, it seemed like Tekashi was shifting away from music and leaning more into being an influencer than anything else. He was making headlines for his antics rather than his songs. And at one point, he even had a drunken podcast appearance with the Tates, adding to his unpredictable persona.
Haram. Where's our haram bar?
Haram bar. All right, let's just stop.
Producer, press the hold.
Things started going downhill after his friend Steve secured him a multi-million-dollar deal to stream on Kick. However, Tekashi reportedly got lazy and quit after just one stream, leaving Steve to cover the $2 million advance that had been given to him up front. Since Steve was the one who vouched for Tekashi to be on the platform in the first place, this put him in a tough spot, further straining their relationship. This, of course, ended their friendship.
So what happened between you and 6ix9ine?
I got him a deal, right? To play video games
With Rumble?
once a week for an hour.
Damn.
$2 million up front, and just doesn't do it. He had no money at the time, and he needed money to he breaks up with his girlfriend, and he needs money to buy Birkin bags for all these black chicks and give away money to make his girlfriend jealous. That's literally like the factual story. He told the company, I need $2 million up front so I can buy a content house. See these videos of him giving away money and stuff, it's never his.
And from that point on, the only times Tekashi really went viral were when he was flexing, showing off his jewelry, cash, and luxury cars whenever he had the chance.
That's your whole that's your life right there. I spent what y'all rappers make your whole career on bags, and I'm giving them shit.
It was clear that his focus had shifted away from music, and he was relying more on flashy antics to stay relevant. Tekashi kept up his "I'm winning while you're mad" image for a while, and for a couple of years, things were relatively smooth sailing. Yes, he got arrested a few times, but mostly for minor offenses, often in other countries. As I mentioned before, he was spending most of his time outside the US, likely because it was safer for him and also because he had shifted his entire career toward international audiences. This is something many entertainers and even athletes do once their peak in America is over. While Tekashi may have been forced into this move earlier than most due to his legal troubles, it still proved to be a lucrative option. We've seen plenty of people use international fame to revive their careers. Just look at Drake Bell, who's huge in Mexico, or artists who end up thriving in completely different markets. Over time, Tekashi even started bragging that he no longer needed security everywhere he went, acting as if his past controversies were behind him. More than likely, the real reason he stopped having security wasn't confidence. It was because he simply couldn't afford it anymore. Security costs add up insanely fast, and for a while, Tekashi was constantly moving homes and struggling to maintain his expensive lifestyle. But as we all saw, thinking he could just walk around freely without protection turned out to be a massive mistake. It all came crashing down when he was infamously jumped in the bathroom of an LA Fitness, proving that his past would always catch up with him.
Yo, this is Jump 6ix9ine, bro. Yo, homie, I'm not gonna lie, bro. I'm a fan, bro. Yo, I'm a fan. I'm just saying, bro. I'm a fan, bro. I know, but y'all niggas jumping, nigga. I ain't jumping, bro. I'm just saying.
To me, the craziest part of it all is that these were the guys who finally got to Tekashi. After everything he had been through, the gangs, the legal battles, the constant trolling, it wasn't some high-profile enemy or a major street figure that caught up with him. Instead, it was a random group of guys people had always claimed it would be on site if Tekashi ever came to their city. Yet in the end, it was just a few low-level Mexican gang members who finally got their hands on him.
Two of them weren't members of the gym. One of them was a member of the gym.
Yeah.
So do you think that they went there intentionally to attack you, or was it a crime of opportunity?
A little bit of both.
This was a real turning point in his career because, up until then, he had been out of prison for years after snitching, and despite all the threats, almost nothing had happened to him, aside from the occasional sucker punch. Instead of hiding from the incident, he even turned it into a music video, proudly showing his bruised and beaten face as if to prove he was still standing. I will say this, Tekashi can still pack a concert, especially overseas. Despite everything, he has managed to stay relevant internationally and has even headlined quite a few festivals. While his influence in the US has faded, his ability to draw crowds abroad proves that he still has a dedicated fan base outside of the mainstream industry. He was also arrested for violating his probation, allegedly for using meth and assaulting his girlfriend. However, Tekashi claimed that the drug test was actually a false positive for Adderall. As for the assault allegations, he has remained silent, choosing not to address them publicly. Shortly after this, it became even more apparent that Tekashi was struggling financially. Uncle Sam came knocking, and the IRS was ready to collect what he owed. His popularity had declined significantly since his peak, the record labels had lost interest in him, and his trolling antics no longer translated into streams. Yet, despite all of this, he continued living a high-end lifestyle, spending recklessly on diamond jewelry, luxury cars, and other material possessions. Failing to pay his taxes led to the IRS raiding his Florida home and seizing multiple assets, from expensive cars to designer handbags and high-end jewelry. Apparently, he hadn't reported his income for the last 4 years, which honestly makes it surprising that it took this long for them to take action, especially considering how often he flaunted wealth online. Now, the IRS is auctioning off his possessions, including a diamond-encrusted Bruce the Shark pendant, a custom spinner shark, various chains, rings, grills, and even his plaques from the RIAA. Some of his luxury cars were also sold off, like a Lamborghini Urus that went for $175,000 and a 2017 Bentley Continental that sold for $85,000. And even after liquidating all of these assets, it's believed that Tekashi will still owe the government a substantial amount of money. This makes it seem even more likely that his extended time abroad wasn't just about safety or business, it was probably about avoiding tax trouble in the US. It also explains why he was working out at LA Fitness, a budget gym that's just a step above Planet Fitness. For a guy who used to flaunt millions, the idea of him casually lifting weights in the general public without security was just a disaster waiting to happen. The crazy thing is that, despite everything, Tekashi still manages to land major opportunities. One of the biggest was the record deal he signed with Cartel Music. Yes, that's really the name. The deal was reportedly worth $6 million and required him to record an album with their Mexican artists while touring across the US, Mexico, and Central and South America. As part of the deal, he would receive $1 million for the album and $250,000 for each tour stop. But what's even more interesting is that the contract came with strict clauses, one specifically stating that he had to use part of the money to pay off his IRS debt. Another major condition, he could not talk trash online or get arrested, which is basically asking Tekashi to go against everything that made him famous in the first place.